On the night when 3 fires lit up above the Dnipro, not on watchtowers, but hanging in the fog over the water, the guards did not cry, "Alarm." They only crossed themselves. Because in Kyiv, they knew, when fires appear where there is no land, it is not a sign for the sword, it is a sign for conscience. Miroslav awoke to a knock at the door before dawn. The knock was short, like a blow to the ribs. "To the prince, at once." He dressed in silence. The chainmail chilled his chest as if reminding him, "Everything you do not with your heart, but with iron." Yet this time, his heart beat faster than his steps. The prince's chamber was dark. Embers smoldered. Smoke clung to the ceiling. The prince stood by the table, holding a small wooden box. Not gold, not decorated, plain, like a coffin. "Did you see the fires?" the prince asked without lifting his eyes. "I did," Miroslav replied. The prince opened the box. Inside lay a seal, black as night, heavy as sin. A mark people did not like to name aloud. "This seal was brought to me yesterday, in secret, from Podil," the prince said quietly. With these words, "If the prince does not listen to the city will find another prince." Miroslav remained silent. He knew Podil. He knew the smell of fish and smoke. He knew the eyes of people carrying water, while the Druzhina took the last grain. "You will go there," the prince said, "and you will find the one who gives out these seals." "And what should I do?" Miroslav asked. The prince finally looked at him. "Make sure there are no more seals, and no more fires." Miroslav understood. This was not a search. It was a sentence without a name. He entered the city while the fog still lingered. Kyiv breathed heavily. People did not laugh at the market. Children did not run. Someone looked at Miroslav as if wanting to speak, and dared not. In Podil, an old boatman met him. Miroslav remembered him. The man once ferried the Druzhina across the river during a flood. "You came for the seal," the boatman said. Not as a question, as a verdict. "I came for the one who carries it," Miroslav answered. The old man smiled without joy. "The prince thinks the seal is a hand," he said, "but the seal is hunger." He led Miroslav through narrow passages between houses, then down into a cellar beneath a half-burned granary. It smelled of damp earth, spoiled grain, and human fear. Fear that had already stopped being fear. People sat inside, not boyars, not warriors, craftsmen, women, the old. One man stood among them. Average height, dark hair, hands hardened by labor. He did not hide. "You are from the Druzhina," the man said calmly. So the prince finally heard the bell, even though no bell rang. Miroslav looked at the seal resting in the man's palm. Black. Heavy. "Is this your doing?" Miroslav asked. "This is our misery," the man replied. "We do not want war. We want to stop being strangled. Today tribute, tomorrow our children. The day after, our memory." Miroslav clenched his fingers. He felt the prince's order standing behind him like a shadow with a sword. One movement, and this conversation would become silence. "You know they kill for this," Miroslav said quietly. "I know," the man replied. "But tell me, what do people die for? For a seal? or for bread. Someone in the cellar began to cry, softly, the cry of a person who no longer begs, only cannot hold it in. Miroslav looked at the people and understood, even if he killed this man, the fires would not go out, because fires are not lit by hands. They are lit by empty stomachs and humiliated pride. When he left the cellar, the sky had darkened. The wind tore the fog apart, and within those rags of mist appeared real light. Fire. A granary burned, then another. Flames ran across dry wood like a beast finally freed from its cage. People shouted, ran with buckets, but shouted more at each other than at the fire. They hid grain. It's the Druzhina's fault. It's the prince. Then Miroslav heard the words that turned people into a crowd. Let's take what's ours. A stone flew, then another. Stones traveled faster than thought. Miroslav ran toward the citadel, but the gates were already closing. The Druzhina prepared, with spears, with swords, as always. On the wall, he met the voivode. The prince's order, cleanse Podil, the voivode said, by dawn. Cold passed through Miroslav's skin. It meant one thing. There would be blood, a lot of it. Not enemies, their own. He climbed the tower overlooking the Dnipro. The 3 fires above the water had gone out, but their memory hung in the fog like an unspoken word. Below, the crowd pressed toward the gates. On the wall, archers readied arrows. Between them lay a thin line, not yet blood, but almost. Then Miroslav did what he had no right to do. He raised his hand and shouted, "Open the gates!" "Are you mad?" the voivode hissed. "They will tear us apart." "If we do not open them," Miroslav replied, "we will tear them apart." The prince came onto the wall himself. He looked long, at the crowd, the fire, the Druzhina, waiting for permission to become beasts. "Did you see who gives out the seals?" the prince asked. Miroslav could have spoken a name, one word, and the prince would have a simple answer, a simple solution, simple blood. But Miroslav answered differently. "I saw. It is not a person. It is what we have made of people." The prince clenched his jaw. "You want me to be weak?" "I want you to be a living prince," Miroslav said. "A dead prince can also sit on a throne. He just does not need to listen." The wind carried the smell of smoke. The crowd roared. Someone was already climbing the gates. The prince looked at Miroslav for a long time, as if seeing, for the first time, not a sword, but a man. Then he said, "Open the gates, but keep the sword sheathed." The voivode went pale. "My prince!" "I said it." The gates creaked open. The crowd froze, because when gates open, either slaughter begins or conversation. People entered cautiously, not like enemies, like those who do not believe they will not be killed. The man from the cellar was among them. He held the black seal but did not raise it. "We did not come for blood," he said. "We came to be heard." The prince was silent. Then he slowly extended his hand. "Give it." The man placed the seal in the prince's palm, and something strange happened. The seal, once heavy, now seemed small, because its true weight was not in itself, but in the fact that the prince took it without anger. The next morning, Miroslav was not rewarded, he was not praised, He was simply summoned and told, "You are no longer in the Druzhina." No shouting, no trial, as if cutting away a piece of cloth that no longer fit. He left Kyiv by the same road he once entered with a sword. Now there was no sword, only a cloak and silence. Behind him, Kyiv still stood. The fires were extinguished, the crowd dispersed. The prince remained a prince, but Miroslav knew the fires above the Dnipro would appear again. Someday, somewhere. Because Russes always walks a thin line between fear and conscience. And sometimes, for a city to survive, it does not need a sword. It needs a person who knows when not to speak a name,